When you go through traumatic experiences in life, especially as a kid, but even as an adult, it can make your heart cold. It could start to get you to question not only God, not only your spirit, not only your faith, but it can start to get you to question, your existence. Good day, family. Another beautiful day. Another beautiful opportunity to turn whatever dream you have into a reality. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the power of letting go. And this is something that I've even struggled with. I've had many of people, clients, friends, family that I've been able to help, with this as well. And it just comes with a lot of trauma, right? If you've experienced a lot of trauma in your life, I can tell you that you will struggle with letting go. You'll struggle with letting go of the past. You'll struggle with embracing new opportunities in the future, maybe because that's a fear of loss again. You'll struggle with it because it's a lack of trust. And so I wanted to talk to you guys about something of how I've gotten myself through that. And I'll tell you first and foremost, this is also therapy for me, right? So I created this series, right, I don't even know what I'm gonna call it yet. Maybe whoever has an idea of what I should call this series, right, as I do these daily walks, drop it in the chat for me. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this because it's even something that I'm struggling with today. When you go through traumatic experiences in life, especially as a kid, but even as an adult, it can make your heart cold. It could start to get you to question not only God, not only your spirit, not only your faith, but it could start to get you to question, your existence, right? And you then start to ask yourself, like, is this who I am? Is this what's supposed to happen to me? All of the things that I've done. And so I'll tell you how I've been able to let go. And if you're somebody who you're struggling right now with letting go, this is the first thing that I always tell myself. I tell myself that the burdens that you're carrying are not yours to carry forever. So what does that mean? I think at the end of the day, as you take on more and more burdens, you take on more and more of other people's problems, you take on more and more hurt, it only starts to wear you down. Right? And every single day you have to figure out, how do you release so you can go further? If you think about it, let me tell you a quick story. So it was funny because back in 2008 to 2011, I played poker for a living, right? So I had friends that were playing online poker, and poker wound up getting shut down. This is not a story about poker, so stick with me here. The poker wound up getting shut down, at least in the online form. Why? Is because, everybody was playing online. There was a couple big major, platforms, but the government knew that people were playing online, but the issue was that the government didn't have a way to tax it, right? So they wound up going to the major platforms and basically saying, hey, you got all of this money that's leaving the US and going overseas. If you ever want a chance to open up here legally in the United States, you better shut everything down. And so they wound up shutting everything down. They seized all types of money. I mean, I'm talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars were basically just shut down and frozen. Now, after some years, a lot of people wound up getting paid out. I know at least I got my money out, but it was definitely a challenge, and the government, basically was able to get their way, as, all governments do. So anyway, and one other part in this, because people always say, like, oh man, it was illegal to play online poker. But it was not illegal to play online poker, but it was illegal for banks to knowingly process the transactions, right? And so that was basically how they was able to do it. They basically told all the banks, like, there's no way that you're going to, keep doing these transactions without being fined. So anyway, why do I bring up the poker story? Well, I bring that up because I remember, as I used to play poker, I would 10 table, 12 table, which means I got 10 or 12 tables up at one time, and you only get about 20 seconds when it's your turn per hand, maybe about 15 seconds. And then you got to really make a decision. At max, you're getting 60 seconds, right? And then what'll happen is they'll time you out. And so depending on what hands you had, that could be very detrimental, because if you've been playing at this table, you've been playing very, very conservative and solid, you're waiting for your chance, but then you take a major bad beat on this table, right? And you're like, oh man, and now you allow your emotions to get the best of you. And then all of a sudden you look over at this other table after, 5-7 seconds, and you've been able to release that and move on to the next hand. Well, now you see that you've just been timed out and you've been folded, pocket aces on another hand, which is 2 aces. And you're like, right? Because that's the best hand that you could have, at least before the rest of the cards are shown. And so for me, that was like, man, like, and it would only catapult into me just feeling like everything was against me, right? I could not control my emotions. And so it was hard, because then I would carry that weight even when I got done playing. Forget the 5-6 hours that I was playing, but even after that, when it was time for Julie and I to go eat, when it was time for us to go do something else, right? My work day was done. I couldn't release those emotions. And so it really just spiraled into the next part, of my day. And so I tell you, the first thing that you have to understand is it's only going to bog you down, and it's going to carry over into some other part of your day. So it's very, very important that you release that. The second thing, understand that whatever your current situation is, that is not your final destination, right? Your current situation is not your final destination. At the end of the day, we're all just students of life. It's one of the things that I've learned from my mentor. It's like, hey, how have you been so successful? It's like, because I've always studied. No matter how much success that I've had, and he's made billions, right? And I've been very, very fortunate and blessed to be able to pick up the phone and call him whenever I need. And, he's told me, like, at the end of the day, you're going to take losses. You name me any successful person that you know that has not taken losses. I can tell you about Jay, right? Rapping about taking losses. He's in lawsuits right now, right? And I'm talking about Jay-Z. But you can look at any successful people, right? They've all taken losses. Warren Buffett has not won 100% of the time, right? I'm sure you could go and you can look on Google and you can find some times that, Warren has lost, $8 to $10 million in a day. Right? He's lost $50 million in a week. He's lost, almost $1 billion. Like, there's been so many situations where the greats have taken L's. Nobody wins the championship every year. So understand that whatever it means, as long as you continue to study, as long as you continue to put your heart in the right place, you'll be fine. Right? As long as you continue to build a community, more people want to see you succeed than ever want to see you fail. But if you're only hanging around the people that have pessimistic attitudes, if you're only hanging around the people that every solution, they have another problem, those people aren't going to help you see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and more importantly, that your future is brighter than ever. So that's something that I definitely want you to know. And last but not least, you have to embrace uncertainty for you to really have transformation, right? So what do I mean by that? When you're certain about something, that means most of the time you're comfortable. Right now, walking down the street, there's no challenge for me at all. It's it's open, it's bright, there's no car, like there's nothing for me to think twice about, right? But if let's say that I was walking in a forest right now and all of a sudden I see a black bear, what's my certainty level like at that point? Right? And we all know that most of the time when an animal smells fear is when they attack, right? Because they're uncertain. What are you going to do? And that's when they attack. And so for you, you have to understand that there is going to be turbulent rides. But at the end of the day, I'll always say it just builds character, right? You're in a character building stage. Nothing goes up forever, and nobody wants to take losses. But at the end of the day, if you embrace that it's going to be turbulence and you find your faith, you find your peace, you find something that can give you gratitude, you'll make it through, because you've already survived 100% of your worst days. All right. I know I love to talk about business, but at the end of the day, if we don't talk about mental health, if we don't talk about, how to get through these days when it feels like it's the darkest of moments for us, I don't think that you could truly have a thriving and prosperous business. Why? Is because you're always going to be focusing on some type of negative throughout your day. And for me, That's been the number one thing that I've continuously reminded myself and my clients, that you have to understand to let go and embrace change. Change is not fun. Change is hard, but change is needed. Think about when you were 12, 13 years old. Your body was going through a change. Your knees hurt, your back hurt. Why? Because you were growing. Your body was physically growing. But think about how beautiful it looked when you turned 18, right? You now were feeling like you were truly a man or a woman. And that's what you got to always be thinking about. In this time of growth, it's uncomfortable, but at the end of it all, I'll turn into a butterfly. And I know that's maybe not the best analogy, but it is an analogy to understand how beautiful life can be. Because we've all seen some butterflies and we thought, man, God's creations, these are beautiful, right? These trees are beautiful. It's all beautiful. We just have to find the perspective in it. So that's all for this one. Remember, the power of letting go. You got to let go of the burdens because you can't carry them forever or they'll just continue to linger on. You can never connect the dots looking forward, but you absolutely can connect them looking backwards. And so look back on it and understand that, this did not define me. This does not define me. And no matter what, I'm going to come out stronger. I'm going to come out better. I'm going to come out wiser. And you can't hold me. That's the mindset you got to have. And yeah, it sucks right now, but there's no other way around it. You can't give up. You got other people that are dependent on you. You got other people that want to be inspired by you. So you got to show up for them. You got to show up for yourself. You got to show up for the person who created you. Remember, in the dream we trust, just take action on something. Otherwise, that dream that you have, we all got a dream. It'll only merely be a fantasy. Catch you on the next one.